Ottawa is preparing its first major Privacy Act rewrite in 40 years. The plan would let federal departments share personal data more freely to improve services, while Bill C-12, the Strengthening of Canada's Immigration System and Borders Act, writes in safeguards like mandatory information sharing agreements that spell out what's shared, why, and the limits on reuse.
A quiet but sweeping change is moving through Ottawa. Federal officials are preparing the first major rewrite of the Privacy Act in more than 40 years, and parallel legislation would expand how departments share Canadians' personal information. The Treasury Board Secretariat, TBS, has been consulting on the 2025 review of the Access to Information Act and Privacy Act, flagging policy approaches that include broader interdepartmental data flows to improve service delivery, cut duplication, and support the government's 2023 to 2026 data strategy push for interoperability. The Chief Data Officer's Year 2 report calls data a strategic asset and says the government must make it accurate, accessible, secure, and used ethically, which in practice means breaking down silos between departments. The legislative edge of this shift is Bill C-12, the Strengthening Canada's Immigration System and Borders Act. When Privacy Commissioner Philippe Dufresne testified to the Public Safety Committee on November 20, 2025, he noted that Bill C-12 would require written information sharing agreements when the immigration minister discloses immigration-related personal information outside IRCC. Those agreements must spell out what data is shared, the purpose, limits on secondary use and onward transfers, and other safeguards, an accountability layer that doesn't exist across the board today. Dufresne called that a positive safeguard and urged Parliament to extend the same requirements to related bills, including Bill C-8. In plain terms, the government wants more routine data sharing across the federal public service, linking benefits, immigration, public safety, and service files, while codifying how those exchanges happen. TBS guidance already tells departments how to draft information sharing agreements, ISAs, for personal information, but those are largely administrative tools. The new regime would anchor them in law for certain disclosures. Civil liberties groups are watching closely. The concern is scope creep. Once personal data moves more freely between departments for service improvement, it can be repurposed for enforcement, analytics, or AI systems without fresh consent. The Office of the Privacy Commissioner has flagged that any expansion must be matched with oversight, transparency, and limits on secondary use, exactly the elements Bill C-12 writes into its immigration provisions.